Today we're talking about OUD patient engagement through access and contingency management. And I'll be introducing our participants from We Care Daily in a moment. My name's Maria Clemestrud. I'm a Senior Improvement Advisor with Comagine Health. Good morning, everybody. Next slide. All right, we are going to have some fun. You're going to notice to annotate at the top of your screen, and you can choose a stamp. We'd like you to choose a stamp and put yourself on the map. Let us know where you're located. We'd also ask that you put your name, location, and role in chat if you'd like to do that as well. Let us know who you are, where you're located, what kind of work you're doing. And I see Idaho and Washington are in the house. And I am looking at chat. Please take a minute to put your name in chat. It's so great to see all of you. Marjorie is with us. Yay! Our superstar. It's great to see you. Happy summer. Illinois is in the house. Grace Harbor County, yay. We have some rural communities with us. Okay, we'll take maybe 30 more seconds to introduce everyone. Who are you? Where are you located? And what kind of work are you doing? Michigan, Minnesota. Love it. California. Great to see you all. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. We have a packed hour. We're very excited. Comagine Health is a CMS quality innovation network. We're located in Idaho, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. Together with our partners, we work to improve health and create a better healthcare system so that people and communities will flourish. Our opioid work is to promote safe prescribing practices, decrease opioid use and improve behavioral health, decrease opioid adverse events, and to bring communities and neighborhoods together to learn about best practices so that we can apply those in our own places of work and where we live. Next slide. We want to remind everyone that we promote the use of affirming first-person language when discussing behavioral health disorders. We affirm people that are in recovery, and we also know that they can use whatever term is comfortable to themselves as they talk about their own recovery. We affirm that as well. We use non-stigmatizing recovery-oriented language to try to reduce negative biases and promote successful engagement in treatment and recovery. And just a reminder to please take care of yourself throughout today's presentation. Some of the content may be triggering and or induce feelings of distress. Step away if you need to, and we are here when you return. And you'll also get this recording and the recap. So just do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Next slide. Our learning objectives for today are to apply principles and expand our knowledge of effective attitudes, approaches, and treatments of OUD care, really look at innovation and what's happening in people's lives to really make a difference to help them begin recovery and sustain recovery, to learn from persons with lived experience, to listen to their stories so that we can improve care, and to always be evaluating the impact of stigma, implicit biases that we may have, so that every door can be opened and people feel welcomed, and that we can always learn new ways to reduce stigma in families, communities, and institutions. Next slide. So we have, as I said, we have a packed hour. We're going to start with introductions. We're going to hear a recovery journey story. And then we'll be talking with Kelsey, Brian, and Tiffany about mobile services, the mission of We Care Daily. And then we have 2 patient stories that we'll be sharing with you, patient interviews about the experience of beginning recovery and sustaining recovery. And then we'll have an evaluation and closing. This is really important to us. We will post in chat an evaluation link. We ask you to just take a minute to complete that. You'll also get an email with that later, but if you can do it during the session, we do read everything that's given to us so that we can improve for our next time together. All right, here we go. Next slide. So I am privileged to introduce to you our We Care Daily panelist. Tiffany Colombini is a certified peer counselor and peer team coordinator. Brian Hervert is the clinical supervisor, and Kelsey Cass is SUDP mobile services provider and clinical supervisor. And together they have worked hard to really show you the way that We Care Daily is providing services in their community. So I would like to introduce Tiffany, who's going to share a lived experience recovery journey story. Tiffany, it's been really wonderful getting to know you the last few months, and I know how much the work that you do means to you. And I just want you to know that we support you, and we're just really happy that you're with us, and we are here with you to hear your story. So Tiffany, take it away.
Thank you, Maria. My name's Tiffany. I've been in recovery for 5 years, 2 months, and 22 days. Today, I'm taking this leap of faith and unveiling my recovery story with you guys. It's something that I've never done before, so bear with me. I'm a bit nervous, but I got this. My aspiration is to diminish any kind of stigma associated with medication for opioid use disorder, and to just inspire people who are struggling to just not give up. So I'm going to start with kind of a short overview of my family background. My mom and dad met at CJR Recycling, which is a long-term inpatient facility. During the time they stayed there, they formed a close bond with Nan and Richard Busby, who were the founders, and also became my grandparents later, my godparents. Upon completing the program, when my mom and dad completed the program, my parents decided to tie the knot, and then shortly after that, my mom got pregnant. When I was a baby, she relapsed, and eventually they got a divorce. It's very hard for me to remember all this stuff, so I'm trying. It might be all scrambled, but I'm trying. But they got a divorce, and my dad continued to stay clean, and he was actually working for CJR as a mechanic. So Nan and Richard provided a job for him after, and I just had this bond with them. They were there the day I was born. They became my godparents, and they really just supported me to make sure I had what I needed. Not long, I already went through that. So my mom put my brother and I through lots of hazardous situations, and lots of police reports were made, and CPS reports were made. So during that time, my dad was trying to gain custody, and he spent every last dollar on his attorney. And it was just a battle going back and forth. I was at my godparents, I was at my mom's, I was with my dad. It was just a lot. Eventually, when I was about 7 years old, my mom just kind of gave up. So my dad got custody, and through my upbringing, it was great. After that, my dad remarried. I have a sister, and we moved a lot, but he always made sure we had everything we needed, and so did my Nana and Papa. Let's see. So during high school, my freshman and sophomore year, I was an avid, I was an honor roll, did all these great things. Junior year is kind of when I started experimenting with ecstasy. And that was the first drug that I tried, and marijuana. Every weekend it just became this thing. That was, and then junior year hit and it was just partying, right? Like drinking. That's all I was doing. I wasn't spending time with my family. It was just constantly thinking about partying. And June 19th, 2007, this was the end of my junior year, my dad had passed away. So that was a turning point for me. I never went back home, and I just kind of stayed with my friends' parents. They took me in, continued to party. And I was just numb. I was numb. And I went through my senior year of high school, kind of just on and off. I feel like I graduated, I did, but I feel like my teachers just passed me because they felt bad, because I wasn't there a lot. At that time, during the middle of my senior year, I was staying with a boyfriend who had his own apartment, and one day I saw him smoking a pill on a foil. And not knowing what it was, he offered me a hit. It was an Oxycontin 80. I had no idea what that was or anything. No idea what I was getting myself into, but I chose to take a hit of that. And a few weeks later, maybe it was a month or two, I don't remember, but I was sick and he was sick, and we were both laying on the ground sick. And that's when the chase began. I graduated, like I said. I was just not there, though. I wasn't there. Throughout the years after that, I was able to hold a couple jobs and continue to get high, right? But I was doing all these things, stealing from my job, and just staying with friends, just moving house to house. Eventually, they stopped making Oxycontin 80s, and so I made the switch to heroin. I smoked heroin for a little bit, but then met a guy, and he was injecting it, and so I did too. So then that became the new thing for me, is I was injecting meth and heroin. And during that whole time, there's a lot that happened, that I was escorting. I was just doing all these things, right, that I'm not proud of, but you name it, like I have done it. I was homeless. The first time I was homeless, I just remember riding the bus back and forth at nighttime all by myself. And I ended up leaving this really bad domestic violence situation. I escaped. And after that, I had nowhere to go. And so that was the first time I went to detox. When I went to detox for the first time, they didn't being on a medication wasn't an option. And so you just detox off everything, and they'd give you medication, but it was never enough. So I always left. I left early, or I had a boyfriend pick me up. I just left. I went to detox probably 3 times. I tried, I never gave up. That's the beautiful thing, right? Like I never gave up. I always wanted to get out. And so when I was staying with these people, I would try to go to detox. I would try over and over, but I could just never make it through. And eventually I ended up in Tacoma homeless. And at that time, I was working on getting on housing and essential needs, the HEN program. This was when it was kind of newer. And I finally got approved for it, and got a studio apartment in Tacoma. And it was mine. I was able to have a roof over my head and I not have to worry about anything. And so I attempted to go to detox again, because it was right down the street from my apartment. And so I was like, let's do this again. I threw away my drugs. I attempted to do it again, but I just couldn't. It was always that third day. I'm always left the third or fourth day when it was the worst. And so I came back to my apartment and I was like, this isn't working. Like, I need to do something else. And so I believe it was December 15th, 2018. So I was 28 years old. I decided to go to Tacoma Pierce County Health Department and get on the methadone program. And this was something that I pushed away over the years because I remember my mom going with my mom to the methadone clinic. Like, I always, when I thought about methadone, I thought about my mom. And then I always heard on the streets, you're just trading one drug for another. You just hear all these things. But at this point, I didn't know what else to do. And so I went there and I started working the program. Like, I was taking the bus every day to go there. I was going to these groups. And shortly after, I have the date right here, May 8th, 2019, I got my first favorable UA. And I remember hanging that on my wall. I was so proud of myself. And then shortly after that, I got pregnant. And when I was pregnant, I got my certified peer counselor credentials. And I remember when I was in the 5-day training, I felt my daughter kick for the first time. It was kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting it at all. But so I got that. And then I got my first job at Telecare, working as a peer. And then I went on leave, and then I went back to Telecare, and I realized, like, this isn't for me. It wasn't doing it for me. And so I was looking for another job, got an interview at OUD Care, and I didn't do any research. I was just looking for another job. I was just applying for any kind of peer position. And I remember sitting in the interview, I believe Heyman and Kalina were both in it. And I felt ridiculous because I didn't know what this place was. And so once they told me about OUD Care, I got really excited because I'm a person on medication and I'm thriving. So I immediately felt comfortable enough to share that during my interview. And mind you, not like at my last job at Telecare, they didn't know any of that because I didn't feel comfortable. It wasn't a good environment. So when I opened up about my experience on medication, it felt really good and I felt comfortable and I felt like they heard me, and I eventually got the job and started working, just working one-on-one with individuals, meeting them where they're at and supporting them. And eventually one of the counselors came up to me because she knew that I had my daughter on methadone. And she came up to me and said, hey, I really wanted to start this pregnancy program and pregnancy group, and but I just haven't done it. And so we started working on that. And then she left. And so Kelsey Cass and I refined the curriculum. And even up till today, we have the PPW group, the perinatal group that we have every week for the pregnant women who come into the clinic. I think that's probably my favorite part of this job is supporting the pregnant women and their babies. We get to do So we have the groups, and then because we have contingency management, we're able to offer these gifts after they complete. So if they complete all of the groups, which is about 7, and it goes over like all the basics, right? Secure attachment bonding, neonatal abstinence syndrome, labor and childbirth. It goes over everything. So if they complete that, then they get this really cool gift and $50. And so we kind of incentivized it. And I love it when I'm able to give that to somebody. Like the purpose of all this, though, is just to provide education, right? So even if they don't come in and go to the groups, we're able to give them the group material, the curriculum, so they can review it themselves. Once I had my daughter, I had decided to start tapering off my methadone. And so that was something I was very open with too, with my supervisor, is my tapering. I was always supported. She understood. And it wasn't until recently that I got really low on my medication. And I always was comfortable enough to tell Kalina, my supervisor, and I was really struggling. And so I checked myself into therapy. I was doing all these things, started going to meetings, and I kind of just told myself that I want to be able to take care of my daughter the way I want to, and right now I'm not. And so I just decided to make the switch to Sublocade, and so now I get to I'm not worrying about tapering or any of that right now. I'm just able to take care of my daughter the way I want to. I feel better. But sharing that with my patients that I help, it gives them hope, right? Like just sharing my story, bits and pieces of my story, it gives them hope. A lot of them say they don't believe that I've been through it. You know what I mean? But I have, and it's a good feeling to hear them be inspired. What else? So now, recently, I just got the position as a peer team coordinator for OUD Care, and I kind of lead the clinical side of things, and I love it. I'm learning a lot, but I love it. I'm still doing the perinatal stuff, and I'm kind of I'm going to meetings now. I feel like there's a lot that I haven't done in my recovery that I'm doing now. And I share that with my patients too, because a lot of them are in the same position, right? And I'm just open with them about where I'm at. If I feel like it's necessary, I'll be open with them about where I'm at. My recovery has brought so much positive. I'm able to support my daughter as a single mom. My credit score is amazing. I've been able to get a car, save up for a house. Like I'm doing all these things, and that's what motivates me the most is my accomplishments and my daughter, and giving her the life that she deserves. I don't know how I'm doing on time.
You are doing beautifully. And if you want to transition to Kelsey, that would be great. It's just been really a gift to listen to your story, Tiffany.
Thank you so much. All right, Kelsey, take it away.
That was a hard act to follow. That was definitely really beautiful story of your recovery, Tiffany. My name is Kelsey. I am the clinical supervisor for the mobile clinics. I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about our mobile clinics and what my role is. Currently, I am the clinical supervisor, supervising the clinical side of the mobile team, which would include peer counselors and SUDPs or SUDPTs. We have a lot to really enjoy on the mobile unit. Sometimes the weather can be a little finicky, so that's one of the things that is like maybe not the favorite. But being able to really have people come in and be on site, even in those cold winter months, and kind of just stick it out with the patients, is really rewarding. When they come in and they see your face every day, you can tell that it makes a difference. So that's one of my favorite parts. We have 3 mobile clinics currently. One of them is in Tacoma, and it's open from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then we have 2 in Seattle, one in North Seattle and one in Soto. Those are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Let's see. So services that we offer counseling, we offer peer counseling, medical services, and medications for opioid use disorder. Commonly, those things are methadone, Suboxone, Vivitrol, Sublocade. Those are things that we're offering. We use a variety of ways to kind of encourage the patients to continue coming back for their medication. A lot of it is motivational interviewing through counseling services. And we also have a contingency management program that we utilize. And so this offers contingency management gift cards for completing certain activities. These activities can include their assessment. In the beginning, they have like what's called a passport. And so they're able to earn gift cards for the first couple dose evaluations that they do, their assessment, their history and physical, and their first couple counseling appointments. And so those are range anywhere from $5 to $25 gift cards. And this really helps in the very beginning when engagement's very important to try to get to that therapeutic dose. It kind of helps provide that incentive. We also are using a OUD Care app now, which is pretty fun. What it does is it's designed to elevate the patient's engagement. And so they're able to log in and track their activities. Like I spoke about the passport where they have their assessment, their H&P, counseling appointments, dose evals. They're able to see all of that on the app and to see what it is that they need to accomplish and what they will actually earn by accomplishing it. And so that's pretty exciting. We use the app to deliver virtual gift cards to the patients for when they complete their activities. We have transportation on our mobile units, just as we do in the brick and mortar clinic. What we do is the patients will come in and they'll let us know like, hey, I need transportation. And so we'll fill out a transportation request form and send it over to our dispatcher, and our dispatcher will get them on a route. And so what this does is it allows for more stability in them being able to reach the services at the clinic, which helps with their engagement, helps them reach a therapeutic dose, and gives them that consistency. Let's see. And so the transportation brings them in for daily dosing, but also accommodates their peer appointments, their counseling appointments, and any medical appointments that they need to do. Some benefits of contingency management that we've seen is just higher level engagement. And it's fun because we get to sort of work with the patient on their own terms. We get to do individual service planning, find out where the barriers are, and then use this as a part of incentivizing them to kind of get through these barriers. So for example, we have, me personally, for patients that are on the fence maybe about, oh, I need to get a mental health evaluation, but I just haven't done it yet. We're able to incentivize that. Okay, well, why don't we get you set up with, this agency, and if you attend this appointment and bring back a little letter stating that you attended your appointment, you can earn a $10 gift card. And so I've had plenty of patients actually follow through with different types of appointments for that. I had a patient that had some really serious wounds on his legs that he was neglecting and not having regular appointments with wound care. And so we incentivized him going to wound care every week for an extended, maybe like 3 months. And he finally got his legs all healed up. He's able to walk around. It's pretty amazing, the things that we get to do. I've also had another patient that was having trouble dosing every day. And when you don't dose every day, you don't always qualify for a dose evaluation to get to a higher dose. And so we incentivized dosing every day for a couple of weeks until he could get himself to see the medical provider and get to more of a therapeutic dose to where it was easier for him to come every day. And that was very successful for him as well. Let's see. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, and I went through my spiel pretty quickly. So I am going to give it over to Brian.
I have a question for you, Kelsey.
Okay.
This is Maria. Why did you choose to work in mobile services, and what do you like most about going to work?
So I chose to work in mobile services because I was ready for a change. I had worked in the clinic for about 2 years, and I was just interested in, I like field trips. And so I was interested in going out and seeing everything. But the reason why I stayed was because of the patient population and the camaraderie with the team. We all seem to really have the same values and the same goals, which is really just patient-centered care, and that feels really, really good to be involved with a team that shares the same values. And so that is probably my favorite part and why I choose to stay and why I'm so committed.
Thank you so much.
All right, Brian.
I'm Brian, a clinical supervisor here at OUD Care. Where to start? So OUD Care is a holistic approach. When a patient first comes in, no matter if they're homeless, no matter if they're in attorney or whatever, all the way, everything in between, we meet them exactly where they're at. So when they walk in the doors, they're automatically greeted with our beautiful PSRs. And we have peer navigators to walk them through wherever they need to go. If they have appointments or the first H&P or where the dosing is, to the bathroom to get them sack lunches. And they help a lot with the app because there's a lot of contingency management that goes out on the app. Such as if you make your first group session, you do monthly pathways, do your group session, individual session, make behavior appointments, kind of like Kelsey was saying, but in the brick and mortar. Individual sessions, at first we try to meet once a week just to get them on the right path of stability, because we just don't hit with counseling or with just dosing and on the medical aspect. We have so many other services, from counseling to a housing assistant to transportation, but the transportation is really, really beautiful, and it helps so many people that are homeless, because they even go to the homeless camps, pick them up from the homeless camps, drop them off after they medicate their appointments or whatever. And then we have several groups, probably run about 16 groups a day, going from IOP to 12-step recovery to DBT to University, learning the basics. Then when they complete each, in my groups, when they complete a section, they all do a little raffle of how much they win for completing that task. University has backpacks and gives them school supplies and a little certificate for graduating to make them feel appreciated. We work at a holistic approach on so many areas, and right now we're in the midst of behavioral health, so we can do co-occurring at the same time. We're continually evolving with the times so that we can continue to help more and more people. And if I missed anything, that's all I have.
That's wonderful. What brought you to We Care Daily, and what is a typical day like for you, Brian?
Ooh, you didn't want to ask that. What brought me to We Care? It's kind of a deep subject. My wife passed back home in Tennessee, and I was a late act 2, level 2 there, site coordinator. But living in the house was just too extreme, so I told my wife now, I said, yeah, I'll fill out one application. And it ended up being Kalina as the supervisor, and her and Heyman did my interview, and it took her 5 minutes until I took my mask off, still COVID time, right? And she was my very first supervisor who signed my first hour as a CDPT. But what a typical day looks like. Well, I trying to help train the counselors to give them the best way to initiate policies and procedures and new ways that we're doing things, on top of making sure they're on top of their training, education hours to stay on task, juggling their schedule with real life so they can keep moving forward. And then all the crisis that goes on with a MOUD program, from new patients to pregnant patients to people using in the parking lot, basic active use situations. And constantly working with transportation because there's always an emergency case that needs a ride picked up because they're missed dosing at the mobile unit, or they just missed their ride in the morning, or whatever it may be. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And what do you see in the future for We Care Daily?
What do I see in the future? They're opening so many different avenues. I hate to say this because it sounds like almost like I'm a salesperson, but a one-stop shop, because they're opening behavioral health from the app to mobile units to expand farther out in the regions. And I see them saving lives every day. I'll be honest, when I first got here, I thought this was a joke. MAT was a joke. I'm like, all right, but I'll try it. I was abstinent-based, abstinent-free, nothing when how I had to learn. And then the first 30 days, I was like, I don't know, one person did something. But after 90 days, it straight sold me. And I'm like, man, this really works. I did not believe this. I'm like, wow. So I committed to a few years doing this side. And kind of like what Tiffany was sharing, that my PG version of personal experiences and active addiction. I just celebrated 14 years clean May 2nd.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so sharing that and walking with them, but not just walking with them because you're paid for it. Because if people who don't do it beyond the pay, there's a whole nother paycheck with inside that you can't put a price on, and that's when they get that aha moment and they start progressing towards stability and changing their lives around. I have a lot on my caseload. A few were who y'all will hear from later on, where they just gave up and I was walking with them, and it's just amazing on what a little assistance and feeling wanted can do for an individual's inner being.
Well, thank you so much. I know that the work that all three of you are doing just really is so valuable to our community, and we appreciate you teaching us about what you're doing. And yes, are you going to transition us to our next phase?
Almost. I forgot a huge key ingredient. We have also our neighborhood center where the peers over there, and they teach and resource and help with navigating through systems and through artwork and through basic needs of getting IDs. And yeah, and the peers are so amazing when you see the work that they do. Well, just to get a patient just an ID sometime is like pulling teeth.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing about the neighborhood center as well. So we have some patient stories, client stories that we want to share. Do you want to give an introduction to these before we play those?
I wish I knew what order they went in.
I think we can bring up the slide so you can see.
Okay. Yeah, this first one is Corey R. And when he came in, he was just okay with, it's okay, I'm not hurting anybody. And so he brought his dad to a session one day. And I'm not going to describe what happened in that session, but it got really emotional. And it was his aha moment, learning that he's hurting more than himself. And for the first time since I've met him, I was working with him about a year and a half at the time. He now celebrated 18 months clean. and he's engaged in groups, and him and his dad have a relationship that they haven't had since he was like 13.
That's wonderful. Let's go ahead and play the interview with Corey.
But when I first came in here, the first thing I noticed about this place was it was really, really clean. It was really clean. Because I've been to a couple other dosing places, and they're horrible. Like one down in Canton, one in Bellevue. They were bad. Like and the line for dosing, like every day we'd go in there, it'd be like 2 hours. It'd just be outrageous line.
Right. And so when you did decide that, okay, let me try it one more time, and you made the decision that you wanted something different, how critical was the MOUD with contingency management, which is like $25 get you ASAM or whatever it be, right? How did that help in your journey of gaining sustainability?
Well, I mean, it helped a lot because I was having trouble getting down here at first. Like, I had to fix my car, and so I had to come up with the money to do that. And I wasn't working, of course, because I was, all my money was going towards drugs, and so like the extra money really did help because it basically gave me the gas to get here every day, and I just kept coming and coming and coming, and it was like I think it did like a good year that I was still using and coming here, but like finally it just like it just clicked, and if I finally wanted to get clean and wanted to stop using, and wanted to get my life straight, and like really I don't think like if I didn't have the money to get here, like I wouldn't even have came. Like I'd still be out there using right now, probably. Definitely I'd still be using. I know that.
Right. And how was this clinic help you along your journey to make it less stressful? Because you're already battling the disease of addiction. So what are the few things that stood out?
Like I said, when I got here, it was like really clean. Everybody was really nice. So that really helped because like the other clinics I went to, like the people were just rude. They obviously didn't want to be there doing the job they were doing. And which, I mean, if you're dealing with a bunch of drug addicts, I mean, that'd be hard. I can imagine that.
Right.
Especially if everybody just coming there is miserable. And of course you're miserable because you're having to deal with 2-hour lines every time you come in there,
Right.
And here it's like fast. Every time I come here to dose, it's fast.
And if you can share with anyone with your journey on here and MOUD and contingency management, what are some suggestions you can come for the person that struggled with other clinics, or have you not?
I would tell them to just keep trying because they'll eventually find the right place, the right counselor. And another thing too is that because it was gift cards, I couldn't just go spend it, like especially like because they're on your you can't sell them,
Right.
So I couldn't make I couldn't sell them, and it was a lot harder to I wouldn't have been able to sell them to get drugs or anything. And they were like gas cards, so it's the only thing I could really do with it.
And throughout the groups and everything, there's contingency management there when you win a draw or complete an assignment or a monthly treatment plan, right?
Yeah.
So that helps tremendous. Okay, so how much clean time you have right now?
1 year and 6 months.
How long it take you to get that?
Like 12 years.
I'm very proud of you. It's a huge accomplishment, right? Keep giving up the good work, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Brian, do you want to say anything about this clip?
Yes, this is Jose A. When he came in, he just thought, you know, because he's been using for so long that it was normal and that his family just had to deal with it, and that's that. Uh, but now he celebrates he just celebrated 18 months clean, and his significant other of 15 years kept telling him no because he kept going and using and would never marry him. Well, they finally got a date to get married. Uh, and they're inviting me, and I'm like, yeah, probably not. But he even through trials and tribulations, he has a niece who's 7 years old and is battling brain cancer. And but instead of going and using and running from everything we've tried to teach him, he's hit the ground running. And he just found out last or 2 nights ago, Monday, whenever that was, that the cancer in her brain went in remission. So he's got one amazing story.
That's really good news. All right, let's hear Jose's story.
The fentanyl and the black, the heroin, and I used to do that all day. I used to spend about 100 a day until I started running out of money. Then I started selling all my stuff. I used to have like Seahawks jerseys and a bunch of hats that were worth a lot of money, collectibles.
Right.
And I used to pawn them so I could go get my stuff. And then after that, I started running out of money and started getting the withdrawals. And I finally heard of this place, OUD Care. So then I decided to try and give it a try. And I came here, the first time I came here, I didn't really have the transportation. So I stopped coming and went back on the streets again. And
So why didn't you get the transportation that was here?
well, because it takes a while to get the transportation here. It's not like right away. Like the
Also wasn't on your time schedule.
no, it's like you have to be here for a certain amount of time, I think, before you can get transportation. And because when I finally did get transportation the third time I came back, it took about a month for me to get on transportation. Then I was able to come more regularly. Yes, and now that I'm on, like, being here for a couple of years now, I'm at a month, so I'm able to provide my own transportation to get here.
So you got your license back, driving legal.
Yes, got my license back.
So what was the hardest part when you came back the third time?
The hardest part, well, at
Because you were
first,
still using that first, right?
yeah, it was just getting off it, but keep coming and keep getting the methadone dose up and letting go of the fentanyl is what did it. The hardest part was getting up to a point where I was comfortable with the dosage.
So if someone was coming in today, never been in the MOUD like ours, what would be some friendly suggestions on where to start and what to look for and to keep being motivated?
Well, get on transportation and just keep coming and just keep getting your dose up until you're a comfortable place, and just keep coming.
And how did the counseling help you with contingency management to get where you are today?
Oh, counseling was great. They kept me on my toes. They suggestions and follow the suggestions that counseling gave me, and I kept doing that.
Well, I'm very proud of you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for your time.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say to someone else that might be in the path you're in or were?
Sure, just keep coming, keep working, and it'll happen. Just come and get your dosage and stop using, and the dosage and the use comes up, and just keep working and it'll happen.
Amen.
Thank you so much for sharing those personal stories. Why don't we take down the slides for a minute just to see if anybody has any questions for our panelists, Kelsey, Brian, and Tiffany. And Brian, Tiffany, and Kelsey, if you have anything you want to share with each other, that is also would be great to hear, because I know you work together every day. And our chat is open if anybody has any questions or comments they'd like to make, or please come off mute if you want to share.
Really proud of the work that we do, right? And I'm really glad that I get to do it with my colleagues that are on the screen right now. And I just wanted to say that, Tiffany, your story of your recovery was beautiful, and really it brought tears to my eyes.
Thank you.
And did. That's why I'm glad Kelsey went before me, because I was still cleaning them up.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing, Emily. It's just not one person. You need it takes a village to raise a child, as they say. But same with a person stuck in substance use issues. It takes a village to bring them back and to let them know that they are cared for and they're wanted and that their life does matter.
Yes, and every moment is planting a seed for that, and it's really inspiring to know where you are in our county, in your county, in your neighborhoods, in your community. And when we first met with We Care Daily, they talked about the fact that they have open access 15.5 hours a day, and that that open access is an open door, more opportunities for people to have a human connection and to be ready for services, to be ready when they're ready. So we're just very grateful that you are where you are. All right, we are going to go to, unless anybody else has any questions or comments.
Can I share a little bit more about
Yes, please
the
do.
neighborhood center? So the neighborhood center, I just want to elaborate, is right down the street from us, and it's completely peer ran. And we have computers there, but we also host a lot of events too. So like tomorrow, we actually have a hair cutting event. Every month we have an event basically. And then there's also groups there. There's a lot of stuff for them to do. We have snacks. They just come there and they hang out, and that's the beautiful thing. They chat with others. We have one of the other peer patients facilitates a Mara meeting. So it's really cool to see the connection that they have with the other patients.
That's great. And I know, as I said in the beginning, Tiffany, Brian, and Kelsey are available through email. Their emails will be on the recap. And if you want to share anything with them, ask them questions, make a connection, please do that. We're going to go ahead and tell you about our August presentation. And it will be the same day and time in August, the 28th. And we'll be talking about building community and connection for OUD and recovery, featuring USARA, which is the Utah Support Advocates for Recovery Awareness. And please join us next month at the same time. We'd love to have you and share the promotion with other colleagues. If you would like to invite other peers and colleagues to attend with you. And next slide. We're putting a link in chat right now, and we have a few extra minutes, so please take a minute to click on that link. It will just take a few minutes to give us your feedback. We have a health analyst who looks at these. She works her magic and really shows us our strengths and our gaps around how we're making an impact through this hour with you. And we use this information within a week. We get it from our health analyst, and we use it to improve our next session. So if you would please take a minute to click on that. And if you have any thoughts, we do report quotes and different ideas that you share to our funder, which is CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. We are responsible for a monthly deliverable report. And so if you have a thought you'd like to share on the evaluation, we would really like to hear from you so that we have that qualitative feedback. Thank you so much. And we're going to we're going to go out a little bit early, give you 5 minutes of your day back. And this is a picture of the beach near where I live in Kitsap County, Washington. And we hope you all have a peaceful day. And thank you so much for your time. And thank you especially Kelsey and Brian and Tiffany for the work that you do and the difference that you're making every day. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you. You too.